Welcome back to HL Restorations Impacting Midwest Industries. I'm your host, Steve Tutt. Let's get to it. Welcome, Brad. Finkeldei, right?
Yeah, you got it
right. I got it right. Hey, with Career Confidence, you are a career coach, correct?
I sure am.
Okay, well, kind of tell me and the audience, Brad, of how you got this all started and what made you go into coaching?
Well, to kind of set it up, I wasn't that confident in my life. I was in IT. I was an IT professional for about 13 years, and I had bought the big house. I had the BMW. I had all the crap and stuff. I still miss my hot tub. That was a pretty good investment.
I still haven't ever got one. I need one.
Well, you should probably definitely get one. It's at least worth having it once. But I was in a place where I had all the monetary success, and I still something was missing. Something I wasn't driven to go to work anymore. I was really miserable doing what I was doing. Now, through my process and through my own journey in personal development and discovering who I am and more at my core, I discovered that my very first job in the corporate world at AT&T, I was a manager, and I actually did a really good job at it. But then my ego got a hold of me 3 or 4 years later, and it made a turn for money. I didn't know this at the time, but my brain was just strategizing things. I'm like, oh, if you go this way, you can make more money, and then you could did it like this. You'll be super successful then. And so I went that route, and I was in there for about 10 years, different companies, different roles, and I excelled at it because I'm very analytical, and I'm a thinker, and I can figure things out, right? But when I came to this point, I was living in Austin, Texas, and I just found myself miserable, basically, even though I had everything that I could possibly want. And I reached out to a life coach, and this is my very first time ever doing something like this, ever reaching out for help.
So let me stop you there real quick. Now, when you said how did you decide I'm going to reach out to a life coach? Why a life coach?
I think I had heard it on a podcast, or I had heard it kind of just through, I like to find answers, so I'm always digging, and I had heard of life coaching and it might be helpful, and I just reached out to someone locally. And I had this conversation with this woman, and in about 2 hours, at the end of it, she looked at me and she said, I can tell you're not very confident and you're using your paycheck to impress people. And it was the first time that truth had kind of slapped me, and I couldn't blame anybody else but me. And it started to wake me up to what's really important. And I looked at my life and I said, well, what am I really risking if I leave this job that I'm not really happy? And the only thing I could think of, and trust me, I went through all the scenarios. I was like, the only thing I'm really could lose here is money. And I'm like, well, why don't I go do it? And at the time, I wanted to go out and I wanted to travel more, and I wanted to help others. And
now, is this all stems from that meeting you had with that life coach that you got in? You said, I want to do what you do.
Yep.
Is that right?
No. It wasn't that I wanted to do what she did. She just slapped me, so to speak, and that woke me up. So in coaching, our job as a coach is to ask you questions and help you guide yourself. And sometimes those are really uncomfortable questions,
right? That
you can't be like, oh, it's your fault. It's like, you have to sit with it for a while.
Right.
And so that woke me up.
Now, you've mentioned the word confidence quite a bit so far.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is confidence? I mean, how did you overcome you not being confident?
So first step is awareness that it's an issue, or that it's something that you want to work on in your life, right? So that woman told me, and that helped me become aware of, oh man, this is what I need to work on. That eventually led me to becoming a coach, right? And inside of that journey, which is, I could probably talk about it for a long time, but inside of that journey, what I discovered, what confidence is it's an active choice. And you'll see in people, if you go look me up online, you'll see Rubber Chickens. He's kind of my branding, don't be a chicken. And in my journey of becoming a coach, I wrote a book, and then I went out and went on a speaking trip with a bunch of other coaches. And we went down to Ecuador. And one of the guys that was with us, he was just this, have you ever been in the presence of someone that when they walk in the room, you're like, there's something different about this person.
Oh yeah, I've been around people that they walk in the room, they own the room.
Yeah.
I mean, they just grab everybody's attention.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
That, but humble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he just knew he was a leader, but he wasn't out to prove anything.
Yeah, most of these guys were arrogant. But
Yeah. So anyways, he carried around a giant rubber chicken with him. And he just reminded people of the power within him. He carried around a little, and like hundreds of these at a time, and gave them to people. Like, hey, don't be a chicken. Don't buy into the fear that's running your life, and go do what you really care about. Stand up for what you believe. And you just give them these little tiny reminders and tell them to keep them. And like when you see it, like maybe today's the day that you do that thing you've been wanting to do, right? And so about a year after I met him, he was killed in a terrorist attack. And I felt inspired to continue his message. So I ordered my first round of chickens. And one of the things that I teach people is that when you ask for something, you know, universe, God, whatever you believe in, I think will provide the experience for you to get the answer or for you to get what you want.
Right.
And so for me, like having confidence was about standing up for myself and really speaking up for what I wanted. So the day that I got these chickens, someone stole them off my front porch.
Oh no.
And I literally walked past the person moments after he had stolen them. But I didn't see him steal them. But as soon as I got back to the house, I looked at my phone and I just put two and two together. Like this guy, that guy with the boxes that didn't look like the UPS guy, you know, he must have done it. So this is where I learned where confidence is, because I stood on that front porch and I had the active choice of, do I go chase this guy down or do I go run upstairs and be a coward? And most of my life, I'd been the coward and like run upstairs and we'll figure it out and we'll.
Let's order me some more chickens.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And so I said, you know, I got to go do this. Like he stole my rubber chickens. And so I chased this guy down and I discovered that he was homeless and strung out on drugs, and his mom was homeless and his girlfriend was homeless, and they were all just super down, you know, like down on life. And turning to stealing packages was the simplest, easiest, probably most nonviolent way to try to get ahead. And he shared his life with me, and I got my rubber chicken back, and he gave me a huge gift that day of like being able to discover my own inner confidence. And so I've been on a mission to give away these little chickens, and then that gave birth to career coaching, helping people find their own purpose,
right,
and really stand up for what they want.
No, it's a great story. I love that story. Now, the question I have is in the title up here, it says a career coach and trainer. Mm-hmm. Now, how does that, I mean, who do you see come to you more? Is it more like the business owner of a company, or is it people within that company, or do you have seminars that you do within the whole group of the company? I mean, how does that all work?
Yeah, so it's mostly and has been mostly employees that are seeking career change. And I've done some group facilitation as well.
So it's definitely not been triggered by the company owner, right? So, hey, come on in here and let me show my people they need to go somewhere else, right? That's not usually.
No. Now that's actually the next evolution of the business is helping business leaders understand how they can inspire their employees by being more empathetic, by listening more and caring more for what they're up to, instead of being so fear-driven from we have to get results.
Right.
Because it's a trust thing. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
So, but when you can learn to understand your people and let them do their job, you don't have to worry as much.
Right.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Now, tell me what's the secret of finding a great job? Like, I'm happy where I'm at. I wake up every morning. I want to come to work. I want to go to work. I have a great time doing it. I'm not really. People call me crazy, but I'm not really money driven. Yeah. I'm very happy with the money I make, but I'm sure there's more money out there somewhere. But when I'm kind of the guy is like, as long as I'm happy and my bills are paid and I get to tuck away some money on the side, I'm good.
Yeah.
So people think I'm stupid and nuts sometimes. But so what's the secret of finding a great job?
I think it's understanding yourself and understanding what drives you. A lot of people are driven by money. Myself, and this was a big discovery for me. Like as a 6-year-old little boy, I wanted to nothing more than to save my mom. And I didn't know this until later. But as that little kid, I was so driven that it drove me to become probably one of the more successful people in my family. And after my mom passed, that was a huge awakening of like, oh my God, I was driven to be successful for her. And then after she passed, I realized like there's not that drive anymore. So who really am I? What do I really want? You know? So understanding yourself and where you show up best is the biggest secret to knowing where to find a great job. Because if someone shows up and says, I have a job for you, you might just take it. But if you don't know who you are and what you really care about, you know, you don't have a navigation.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's great. That's a great message too. I mean, you should actually probably start your own podcast and start doing this, right? But it's a great message. I love the story. How did you become the coach that you are today? I mean, how long have you been doing it?
I've been a coach for about 5 years.
About 5 years?
Yep. And when I got into it, I was really naive. I thought I could just go to a course and then I'd be a coach and then I'd start fixing people.
Right.
Well, there was a big awakening there.
That's the question I had. I mean, is there certain trainings that you had to get involved in, and you know what's that all look like?
Yeah. So you know, to get certified as a coach, it can be a few month process up to a year, depending upon what you want to do. And anybody that's going to get into coaching that wants to do it, it's an incredible journey in self-discovery, right? And the biggest thing that I got from it, you know, after I learned like, whoa, wait a minute, like it's a lot more than just going to get certified, because as you go through the process of learning and coaching others, you're learning so much more about yourself and you're starting to break down your own barriers. And that's where the rubber meets the road, where you're like, okay, you know, this is not always about helping others. Sometimes I've had so many clients show up to me where they're just one step behind me. And then I learned so much by going and teaching them something that I just went through.
Yeah.
And that's, it's a great feeling whenever you get to help people do that.
Well, heck, you know, it's funny because I'm sitting there thinking, man, you have to run into, I know you've probably coached some really high up people that, I mean, you have to have confidence in yourself right there just to be able to coach those people that you feel that are at a higher level than you, right?
Yeah, so, that's actually something that I realized early on is there is no above all. We're all very equal. We just have different gifts and talents. I've coached the inventor of the Alexa. She's the woman who pitched the algorithm to Jeff Bezos.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I've coached a chief financial officer of a company, and this guy's got an amazing story. And he was second guessing himself because his English wasn't the greatest. I go, hello, you know 2 languages, I only know 1. And it flipped his complete story about himself. Right. Because he was second guessing himself so much that was hindering him from making progress out there in the next job that he wanted. And what was amazing is I actually have had a podcast. I haven't been up to date with it recently, but I had him on my podcast, and we just talked about his story. And a company said yes to him because they saw his story. Oh. And it was like they were in between a couple different C-level executives. Yeah. And they just Googled his name, and his name came up, and they watched my video and him in it, and they saw his story, and like, that's our guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
He didn't do anything but be himself. And that's one of the things that I teach people when they're going through the interview process, is that to let go trying to be someone else and show up and have a great conversation about who you are and who that company is to, and who that person you're sitting next to is. Because they're going to see your resume and they're going to understand the things that you've done, but they really want to get to know who you are as a person. And that's the real bottom line.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, you've been doing this for 5 years, so I've got to ask, what was your favorite situation that you got put into as a coach?
Favorite situation?
That you'll never forget.
Oh, God. Let's see.
You got to have that one client that you're like, man, it might have been that guy. I don't know, but.
I got a lot of things come up. You know what's my favorite situation? And it doesn't have anything to do with clientele. It was the opportunity to actually restore an RV and go for a bigger dream of mine.
Okay.
Because, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with coaching, but because I had my own this own business, it gave me the opportunity to do it from anywhere. And then that gave me the opportunity to be like, you know what, I think I want to go in an RV and travel the country for a while. And I discovered some huge things inside of that journey. Ultimately didn't end up me working out, traveling forever and like living in an RV and living it up like you see on Instagram or whatever.
I'd be loving that life.
But what I found was I was actually pretty lonely out there.
Yeah.
I found some amazing communities of nomads and people doing different things. And don't get me wrong, some of it was really amazing. You get to see some really great things. But I discovered I'm a real people person and I can't do it alone.
I got your next journey. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Go out and buy that RV again.
Yeah.
You go to RV parks. You have your vlog in your RV, and you get to interview all these interesting people at all these RV parks.
Oh, there's definitely some interesting people out there.
You'd make it huge.
Oh yeah,
But you're not chasing the money no more. So there you go.
No, not chasing the money. It's like any business, that's always a part of it, right?
Right.
And that's one of probably the more interesting journeys too, of like really learning in my business that a lot of businesses really, trying to create it.
Yeah.
That's actually probably been the biggest struggle for me, is like me loving the coaching process, but having to pull back and do the actual creation of the business.
Right.
Yeah.
So if people want to reach out to you, hopefully this gets out there to a lot of people so you can start getting some more coaching opportunities. But how do they get, and is it all right if we go ahead and put your information up on the screen right now, and that way they can reach out to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that. And then also, I have some funny questions that I want to ask you.
Cool.
All right. That's kind of what we do at the
answers.
end of our vlog. So we'll see how you keep you on your toes here. So what is the best part of your daily routine?
I like my morning routine right now.
What is your morning routine?
So, are you ready for this? So,
if it's like mine, I wouldn't even want to tell you. But.
So I get up, I pray, do about 10 minutes of yoga, 10 to 30 minutes of working out. I'm working towards doing handstands and like being able to walk 6 feet.
I used to be able to do that. I can't no more.
Well, not with that attitude.
Good coaching. I love it.
That's how this all got started, by being smart.
I like it.
I'm not done with the routine.
I'm waiting for you to keep on going.
So after I work out, then there's a little bit of meditation. Then I set my intention for the day, and then let it go. And then I have an accountability call with a friend of mine.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what mystery do you wish you knew the answer to?
Who am I?
Who am I?
Yeah, that's a deeper spiritual one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought you'd already had that figured out by now.
I think I do, but I think I still have some room to grow. I've come to understand I don't know it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I would hate to hear anybody say they know it all. So the next one, what do you still like to do the old-fashioned way?
Sorry, I'm just going to say it's sex. I don't know if there's a new way.
Oh, that's hilarious. I think we can air that, can't we? We can air that. Oh, for sure. We can do that. I love it.
Do the old-fashioned way. Pretty soon it'll be driving.
Yeah.
Self-driving cars will be out.
That's too funny.
I had to go with what was ever first come up. Sometimes you just got to trust it.
We got the whole staff over here trying to keep in from laughing out loud, so that's hilarious. Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming into our studio today. But we will put your information up. But most importantly, you guys out there, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like it, share it. We'd love for you to share it as much as possible. Put a comment down there, show us how, or tell us how we're doing, but also let us know what you think of Brad too. And till next time, Brad, thanks, man. We'll have to have you back in.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate you.